So basically, what is it all about? What is the big deal with cybersecurity? It's just protection of anything connected to internet. Previously, they said when you use the alphanumeric special characters, that's more safe. But recently, in one of the conference, I was told the lengthier passwords are more safer than having a complex alphanumeric special character kind of a password. Okay, so there is lots of resources like I mentioned in the cyber.gov.au and also in the ACSC website. Like ASIC has all the business information. Cybersecurity is ACSC. The crimes being reported on an average and 14% increase in average cost per crime. So we know what happened with Optus, we know what happened with Medibank, we know what happened with Latitude Financial. I don't think we've got a choice. When we update these softwares, when we download these softwares, the permission level, if you deny anyone, you cannot download that particular app.
Are you a business owner struggling to generate leads and close sales? Does it feel like without the right marketing and sales strategies, your business is just an expensive hobby? If this sounds familiar, you are in the right place. My name is Dr. Priya Jagannathan, digital product strategist and business automation expert specializing in marketing and sales strategies. This podcast is designed for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to take control of their business operations, supercharge their marketing efforts, and drive growth through strategic CRM and business automation. In every episode, we will dive deep into our Power Pivot framework, which basically involves your product and pricing, your online and offline presence, your warm lead generation strategies, evaluating your sales process, and creating retainer and retargeting existing client formula. Through this framework, even the smallest pivots can create massive business success. So, if you're ready to scale your business with simple, actionable strategies that combine the right marketing, automation, and CRM tips, you might want to listen to today's episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to the session about AI tools for cybersecurity. So if you've never been to my previous webinars or my seminars that I've done with Regional Business HQ, or if you've never come across my name is Priya Jagannathan, and the two-letter DR prefix to my name is basically I spent 5 years of my prime time to get a PhD in bioinformatics. My first job, I started as a university lecturer back in India in 2006. And then I moved to Australia in 2016. And then I started side hustling, a lot of different things with academics like tutoring and different things. One thing I realized after I moved to Australia was time equals money. So basically there was a value for 1 hour of my time. Whereas, in India, we used to get paid monthly salary. So that's the issue. I found out time equals money, and then I wanted to maximize it. So I was this crazy girl who went on to Google later in 2018 and early 2019 to find out how to make money while I sleep, because as much as I understood time equals money, there's only so many hours in the day. So how do I maximize my income, or how do I maximize my money making potential without trading time for money? So that's how I got into the whole online business world. And this was when I was a side hustler. I was working with the University of Adelaide, full-time job. I used to be a business coach specializing in marketing. And then I used to do a lot of consulting, tutoring. I used to do a lot of volunteering with my council. I have 2 YouTube channels, 2 podcasts, and lots of other things. And 2021 is when I decided to actually jump before I was ready. So I quit my full-time job with the University of Queensland. That was my last job in 2021, December. Very, very wrong time. Never do it during December. Mark my words, wrong time to quit your job because you get paid when you're working during holidays. And 2021 December, I quit my job and I was like, okay, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm a CEO, and Australia shuts down for Christmas. So that's when I was thinking, what do? I needed work to keep me sane. I was in the coaching mentoring space where there's so much advice in the market, but there's very little action. So I just put up a story on Instagram if you're a mom in India, if you're a woman in India, I'm going to train you to become my virtual assistant. So it was an accidental thing that happened where I just thought there's so much advice. I give advice to my clients, but then they come back the next week and say, sorry, Priya, I didn't have the time to do it. So 6 people signed up for my VA virtual assistant training. And then that became a very, very powerful container. So when 2022, end of January, when my clients came back after their holidays, I paired each of my VAs with my clients, and that became a very powerful container. So that became my USP. My unique selling proposition was having a virtual assistant or pairing a virtual assistant for every client of mine to take care of the mundane admin, marketing, techie stuff. So this is my team. I went to India in June and July. So 2 months I was there in India. I met my team for the first time in person. So I have trained 33 women to become financially independent as virtual assistants, but I've got a retention of 50%. So 13 members functionally active, having multiple clients. So we had like a weekend retreat, conference, learning, shopping, party together. So that was nice. So I kind of show off these pictures because my team basically takes care of the weightlifting, most of the things. So right now I've niched down, even in marketing and sales, I've really, really niched down into CRM and business automation. The reason I was able to go to India and be there for 2 months and still have something called as an active business with a very, very good lead pipeline and sales was because I had my systems automated. And, basically I had my lead generation and sales happening for me. So I've really, really niched down into it, having seen the benefit myself firsthand. Okay, so that's a little bit of introduction about me. If you've never known me, just go to my website. There's a quiz that'll help you to identify any marketing bottlenecks in your business, marketing or sales bottlenecks in your business. So, yes. So today we are having this particular topic because October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And basically, it's like an annual reminder for all Australians to stay safe online. And this particular year, so every time they've got a specific theme, and the theme for 2024's Awareness Month is Cybersecurity is Everyone's Business. So there is a website called cyber.gov.au, which has got a lot of tools and resources for businesses to go and find out what is available for them and basically get access to them. So I'm going to be giving you my perspective based on my client experience because I use a lot of AI tools. Like I mentioned, I do a lot of workshops on AI tools for marketing. As much as every technology that's introduced into the market has its pros and cons, you will see in terms of cyber safety, cybersecurity, AI has both pros and cons. So I'll touch upon that and give you a little bit of information and gadgets to go play on how you can find out information yourself. So the next 1 hour, we're going to discuss, all aspects of your current business. We're going to go through a checklist to see where you are at. Okay. So just a little bit of stats from 2021, 2022. I'm sure the numbers are more now. So every year in terms of cyber crime reports, the numbers keep increasing. And every 7 minutes now, I would say that number would be very, very less. At the moment that we've got cyber crimes being reported on an average and 14% increase in average cost per crime. So we know what happened with Optus. We know what happened with Medibank. We know what happened with Latitude Financial. I've got Go MasterCard and I was freaking the hell when Latitude was attacked, right? So we all have been through these attacks either firsthand being a client ourselves or know family or friends or clients who have been through such attacks. So the cost for these cybercrime attacks have increased dramatically because the world is changing very, very fast with AI. So I just want to find out from the audience that we have today. I mean, people who joined early told me where you're joining me from and what you do. Others who joined late, if you want to type about yourself when you're free, that'll be good. And I want you to write in the chat if, out of 4, what's your score? Do you back up important information? Do you have regular backup? Do you turn on two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication for access to all your emails and different websites? Do you go and update your softwares regularly, your WordPress plugins, any kind of software that you use? And if you do have teams in your office or in your business, or if you're working for a business, do you receive cybersecurity training? Like I mentioned, when I was working with Bet365, gambling is a highly regulated industry and you are expected to stay compliant. And we used to get regular trainings with cybersecurity, anti-money laundering. So there were lots of different trainings we were given as part of our employment, and cybersecurity was a key thing. You have to lock your screens, you have to change your passwords and all of that stuff. So out of 4 in the audience, what's your score? Can you please share in the chat? It could be about you, it could be about the business you own, it could be about the organization you work for. It's going to be a very dry topic of just me talking. So keep the chat engaged and conversations coming. All right, Emma is at 3. Good. 75% compliance. So that's a good one. 2 to 3. Okay, 50% is not bad. If you're not doing even one of these, then that's when I would be really, really concerned. There is a detailed checklist from the Australian government, Australian Cybersecurity Centre. So they've got this checklist. We'll just quickly go through it while we are here. So this particular checklist will help you to identify if you're using your personal account security, what do you do to secure your account? And how can you protect your devices and your information and data from getting attacked? So these are the different information that is given in the form of a checklist for you to start identifying where are the gaps in your cybersecurity situation. Okay. So we'll just go one by one. In terms of securing your accounts, it could be your email, it could be your website. Turn on multi-factor authentication wherever possible. Use authenticator apps. So some apps have mandatory authenticator validation. You should give the 6 numeric code in order to get into that particular app. Although it's very, very annoying, it just keeps your account safe. Wherever possible, please try and use your Face ID. That's another one which is good. I'm not sure whether I have to believe LastPass because LastPass were also compromised multiple times. People usually say use a password manager to create and store unique passwords. LastPass is a good one, which most of the businesses use, most of my clients use. But again, just remember LastPass was also compromised recently twice, I guess. So limit the use of shared accounts and secure any that are used in your business. So in my case, because I've got so many team members, my team ID, like team@pivottothrive.com.au, is pretty much accessed by 15 different people. So you can imagine the amount of security that I have to monitor if anyone else is getting access to the account, who has access to all these tools. I have a spreadsheet that shows all the different tools I have access to that I've purchased almost close to 30, 35 different tools. And I've got a list of team members who've got access to each of those tools. But one thing that I do is I've got a very, very secure password for each of these different tools. And I always have the authentication on for each of these tools. So if any new team member wants to access a tool for the first time, I'll have to authenticate them. I'll have to manually provide them access. Only then they'll get access. So there is a detailed record of who has access to each of these tools and how am I managing these access. So it took time for me to actually come up with a typical SOP to manage that. But it's very important if you're using a shared inbox. And if your business has staff members who require different levels of access, for example, in my CRM, I can actually limit the functionalities that I turn on for each of these staff members. So really trying to be very, very mindful about the access for each of these accounts. So it all starts with a simple audit. Okay. As business owners, we lose track of time. You might have different people working on the job, especially if it's a retail business, if it's a trades business. Like steel, the steel structures, you will have lots of tradies who would have access to not necessarily softwares, but different systems, different levels of access. And we would not even remember that particular person has access to some of the tools or softwares. So I think making it part of your onboarding process or an ongoing HR process to find out and do an audit of everything. I went into my Xero recently because I changed my bookkeeper and I saw there's heaps of people's email IDs added there other than my accountant and bookkeeper. And those could be the staffs of my bookkeeper or accounting firm. But it kind of made me freak out. Like all these people, like 8 different people had access to my Xero and I was not even informed. So it kind of makes you freak out. I want to show you this email that I received this morning. I've kept it open for you. So 3 hours ago, I received it. It just says notification and it's very clearly a phishing email or a spam email, right? So it's come from some gmail.com. It's AAA. It has all the red flags, right? It's typically in red as well. And then it says you reply to the team at Barking and Dagenham Council, and it gives you some government UK address. So you can see these are all the red flags. You see there's a mailing list and it's mailed by Gmail, but they've done something right in terms of using the right system. So it did not land in my spam. It actually landed in my inbox, right? So which means they are using a very, very strong email provider that it actually landed in my inbox and not in my spam. So basically, I kept it here to show you all for this workshop. But as you know, these are the red flags that I want you all to see when you receive an email. Do not click on any links. So basically securing your accounts, these are the major things that I want you to be aware of. My husband clicked on a phishing link on his phone. He freaked out in 10 minutes. He literally had to reset his phone to factory settings because, we've got our bank apps and everything pretty much is there on the phone. So be very, very mindful and intentional. In terms of softwares and devices, one thing that really, really gets me is the app permissions. Any app that you go and download, you have to. Like, you do not have a choice. Like, none of us have this choice on this planet Earth that these devices are not tracking everything that we speak. I'm not even saying what we search for. I was having a conversation with one of my solar clients. So he was a solar installation company and we were talking for almost an hour. And after I finished that meeting, I went on to Facebook and every ad in my Facebook feed was solar. Like, during that 1 hour conversation, I was not even typing or searching for anything related to solar. So now, these companies have agreed that they're actually listening to every conversation in order to customize the user experience and give us the relevant ads. But as scary as it is, I don't think we've got a choice. When we update these softwares, when we download these softwares, the permission level, if you deny anyone, you cannot download that particular app. Okay, so I think scary as it is and helpless we feel, we are just trying to find out how do we mitigate those things. So for example, when the update happens, you've got an option to say ask app not to track. So make sure you use those particular options. So when you do those updates or when you are trying to update an app or any particular software, make sure you read any pop-up that comes and be informed of the basic consequence, whether you choose yes or if you decide to choose no. So please know, just a simple Google search will let you know what it is all about. So when it comes to protecting your devices and personal information, always make sure the updates for every app is automatically turned on so you don't have to manually do it, because most of these software updates happen to either fix a particular bug or some kind of an improved user experience. So especially Apple, one big downfall with Apple is with every update, your battery life goes down south, right? Because they want you to buy the next Apple iPhone. So that's my theory. So other than that, the software updates are definitely recommended to make sure you stay on top of all the updates, all the bug fixes, and have a better secured device. And always create a backup. So I learned it the hard way when my Mac crashed. I didn't have a backup of anything. And that's when the Apple Store technician told me, how do I easily create a backup on my Apple device? And I've got reminders every month to do it at least once. So I've got a backup. If my system crashes, at least I can go back to a month, which means I'm not losing it all. So have a plan to have a regular backup of information, especially if it's like your work laptop. Like, I cannot live without my Mac. This particular one device is where everything is there. So, if you're like me, completely dependent on your work laptop, make sure you always have your backup information. Okay, so security software always have your antivirus installed on your laptop and some kind of a firewall to make sure you've got that layer of protection on your device. And I do a lot of business networking, and so I have these cybersecurity guys in my pocket. So basically, I can just ask them questions and do a security audit to tell me how I can do it. Ideally, for solopreneurs, there's not a lot that they can do, and most of them suggest this is just practical. Me, I am not a big fan of Microsoft, so most of the cybersecurity people, when they do suggest any kind of cyber safe protocols, they try to sell you on Microsoft packages, but I'm not a personally big fan of Microsoft, how it works, the user experience, the toolkit, and just the whole shebang of Microsoft. I'm not a big fan, so I was not sold, but it was good to actually sit down and do an audit. And I don't think it is very useful for solopreneurs, but if you are a business with multiple systems and multiple people accessing your systems and servers and cloud servers, then there is, I think, worth for your money investing in a cybersecurity professional coming in. But as a solopreneur, because I'm just here, all my team is remote. For me, they were like, hey, just install, LastPass. Hey, just make sure you keep this updated. So pretty much whatever is on the checklist was informed, and I was recommended to use Microsoft Suite, which I was not a big fan of. So yeah. So if you're a solopreneur and considering a cybersecurity audit and what could be the possible outcome, this was what I had as a personal experience, but yours could be different or someone else might have a different opinion. Okay, so there is lots of resources, like I mentioned, in the cyber.gov.au and also in the ACSC website. Like ASIC has all the business information, cybersecurity is ACSC. And before you are going to destroy any electronic or before you sell something, please make sure you do a complete factory reset. This is very, very important because your app, your personal information, your photos, and a lot of different things might come. Even though you delete it, they'll be sitting somewhere in the cloud. So factory reset is always recommended before you sell or dispose. And this is very, very important. So the automatic lock for Face ID or password or the pattern is recommended for even the shortest amount of time. Like for me, it's like immediate. You've got an option called immediate. So immediately I leave my phone, gets locked. So that's one of the safety security features that you can easily turn on. And you have to understand the data your business holds and your responsibilities to protect it. For example, I deal with multiple clients, their information, their client information. So the CRM of choice has to be very, very protected in order to protect my client information and their client information. So really, really, that comes from a very responsible standpoint to make sure my CRM does provide that cyber safe aspect. So these two are for individuals and businesses that want to protect their information and their systems and software. If you have teams or if you're working for a business, you make sure you are being educated or you educate your employees and make them aware of the cybersecurity risks, like simple emails like this. When I used to work with the University of Adelaide, there was an email that got most of us. We all thought it was legit except one manager from ethics division. It was from my manager's name, their exact first name, last name. And the email looks so legit, like you cannot tell it's a scam. But somehow she found out, on Outlook, you can actually click and find out. And that's how she found it was a fake one. And then she alerted every one of us. So it's important to stay vigilant because it will come from you. Even my team, there's a girl who used to work in SEO field. So she was working as an SEO assistant or SEO person. So she used to go to a lot of third-party websites to plug in backlinks. And she got an email exactly from my name saying, can you buy the Amazon gift card for this much? Okay. And my entire team, all of us communicate on WhatsApp. And there's no need for me to send her that email. So she was really sharp and she screenshotted that email and sent it to me. Did you send this to me? So it was drafted really well that I wanted to surprise another team member. So can you buy this gift card for me, Amazon gift card for me? It was worded really well. So which means they have done their due diligence to know that I was the one managing their business. She was part of the team and the whole pivot to thrive was used. So that was a very, very close call. And because because she was sharp, she could identify it and raise it to me. And I said, that's a scam. Please do not click on any links. If I wanted something, I would contact you on WhatsApp. I wouldn't email you. So they know it. And that's how we kind of navigated it. So I'm pretty sure every business these days might have some issue or the other. One of my client, she moved to my CRM and then she panicked and messaged me on Sunday night that she's not able to log into a Clinico app, which is an app used for clinical appointments. She's an allied health professional. And then I said, we do not log into your Clinico. We just kind of integrated it to your booking system in the CRM, but we don't have your login credentials and we have not gone into your Clinico. So she contacted Clinico and found out that her Clinico account was hacked. They were trying to replicate her client profile and trying to send them some information to get some money or whatever. But because she found out that she was not able to log in and she raised the alarm very quickly, they were able to stop the hackers and change the password and do everything. So I think we'll have to just be aware of the patterns. We will look at the patterns, what happens because of AI. Things are moving very, very fast. Okay. So we need to be really, really aware. And in terms of having employees, give them a plan in terms of cybersecurity incidents. What do you do when you click on such emails? Who should you tell? What should you do? And things like that. So this is a very good checklist. I'll give you a copy of this checklist when I send you the recording. There's also another PowerPoint from the ACSC, which is also a good resource. I'll send them to you as well. So that'll be a good resource for you to go through. Now, moving on with my presentation. So these are the different themes that Australian government has come back from 2022. So from 2022 is when they really started focusing on cybersecurity, especially for kids, because they are very, very vulnerable. So kids click on links, they watch YouTube, they watch some kid stuff, and then they are taken to some websites that they're not allowed or it's not appropriate for them. So it started with cybersecurity for kids, and then each month they came back with a different theme. So one month they focused on ransomware. 1 month was all about online shopping theft, especially post-COVID. You see such a huge rise in online shopping scams, right? I paid before I went to India. I wanted like these fitted monitors. It's a very portable one. I can just plug it in my laptop and then I've got two screens that I can just take them, very compact. I paid for it. I think it was $45 and never received them till today. No, it's been 5-6 months. So definitely I was scammed. I didn't know it was a legit website. That email did not work. So I don't do online shopping. So this is what happens when you randomly do some online shopping. But that was my personal online shopping scam experience where the website looked legit. The product looked legit. You place an order, crickets, you don't hear from them. But I went to that particular Facebook ad, commented on that ad multiple times. Hey, I did not receive your product. Hey, I tried to do this a scam. No one responded. So I don't know what happened there. So these are the different themes, and now they're very much focusing on businesses. So June last year was about cybersecurity for businesses, and this year, as we know, the theme is for everyone in business. Okay, why is it important to you? This is the question that I asked y'all when y'all came in. So people said Leo is studying cybersecurity and hoping to transition. And Emma is interested in learning for her family business. And Tanya is an IT consultant and she's just expanding her knowledge. So each one of you, depending on your scenario, this could be an important topic for you to learn and be informed, right? Now, why is this very, very crucial in 2024? In 2024, why are we making a big fuss about it? Because it's happening very frequently, more than it should. And it's not in the news anymore. You're being attacked. Like every day I receive such emails. My team is receiving emails. My clients are getting hacked. So it's no longer a thing on the news. It's either happening to you or it's happening to someone you know. So that's why I believe being aware about the cybersecurity threats and the dangers and how to mitigate those risks is very, very crucial in 2024. So the rise of digital transformation because of AI, everything is digital, everything is online. You really cannot leave your house without your phone. And I hate it. There are days where I don't want to look at my phone. I just want to turn it off and put it and just go out with my family. I can't, because everything requires your two-factor authentication. Everything requires, swapping the card. It's become a very, very integral part of your life. And the world is moving towards cashless digital, which is really not a good sign. I tell you that. I think this happened when I was in India, when all the airport kiosks, the softwares crashed, the Microsoft, when we had the blue screen. So we knew how much our life is dependent on the digital world, and people were giving manual boarding passes on flights, which was strange. As much as we love technology, as much as I'm pro AI, I love technology and I believe in it. It's for the betterment of humanity, but it also has its downside. And that's what we're looking at today. As much as I love AI, as much as I embrace it, I use it every day. The negative side of it is, because of the complete digitalization, we are in the digital age, like industrial revolution. This is a digital revolution, and the AI revolution means we have so much more information, so much more access to data in the online space, which again increases the chance of cyber risk. Like the Facebook algorithm knows our individual preference and pattern more than our partners and children and family and parents, right? Everything that we do is being tracked. We are just a piece of information or data for every company. Every app that we use, could be our banking app, could be our shopping app, could be our social apps. Everything, we're being monitored for a pattern on how we use it, when we use it, how frequently we use it, and what do we use it for. So all those informations are used to predict a pattern, and those patterns come from the vast amount of data. Okay, so when I do the AI workshop, I mean, there is a slide that talks about how many years it took Facebook, Instagram, Netflix to reach 1 million users, and ChatGPT was able to reach 1 million users in 5 days. Okay, because the algorithm, the whole software, OpenAI, was trained on so much data, like trillions of data, that they were able to shoot and get the users in 5 days. Okay, so that's the power of information. We live in an information overload age. Back in maybe 2010, if someone was selling 24 PDFs or 24 courses for $24, I don't know if you see that ad pops up on my feed often. I don't have the time for 24 courses now. Even if you're going to give it for free, I do not have the time to binge and learn 24 courses. But back in 2010, 24 courses for $24 would have made that person multi-million dollars, because back then the information was scarce. It was not as prevalent as we have access to today. So the digital transformation and the massive amount of information that's available online is the increase in cybersecurity risk, is the only reason or the predominant reason for all the cyber risk that we have. Okay. And the global cybercrime costs are expected to rise by 10.5 trillion by next year. So individuals and organizations are facing, like we discussed, increased risk from ransomware, phishing, and data breaches. And because of AI, we also have ways to mitigate them. We have ways to detect the threats and also respond rapidly. So it's got two sides of the coin. One, because of AI, it's also easy to study those patterns and attack somebody or some business very, very quickly. And because of AI, we also have options to understand if anything goes wrong, even identify those patterns and take some precautions very quickly as well. So two sides of the coin. Right? So basically, what is it all about? What is the big deal with cybersecurity? It's just protection of anything connected to internet. Okay, it could be a hardware, it could be a software, it could be the data that's inside a software. And all these you're protecting from any kind of cyber attacks like ransomware, phishing, any kind of scams, anything that is going to harm your personal information or harm your business. Okay, so basically it's a protection. And what is the objective? Every cybersecurity software, every cybersecurity organization, all they're trying to do is protect confidentiality of information. I know a lot of Australian business choose to have the operations onshore, even though it's eye-wateringly expensive and it's not sustainable, but still the choice is onshore Australian companies that actually follows the regulation because they are scared about confidentiality breach. They are scared about their information or data being handled in third world countries or third party organizations. Okay. And they are very, very particular about maintaining data integrity, and they want to ensure the data and system is available, which is safe for the organization, to make sure it's confidential and you maintain data integrity. So that's the basis on which every cybersecure laws are being framed, every cybersecurity organizations operate. Okay, so this is just an indication of what type of individuals come and report. This is only the percentage that's being reported. Okay, I'll tell you the number that's being reported. You can see we in Queensland are the highest we go and report that we have. Poor Darwin is just 1%. You can see New South Wales is 21%, 26, 6 and 11%. So out of these reported cases, most of the things is identity fraud. If someone takes your ID and, they pose as someone else. So that's the biggest type of scam or fraud that is being reported. Online banking is a huge one. Online shopping is a huge one. One of my friend in Darwin, I was sitting during my lunch break and he was literally running to the elevator and asked him what happened. He said, I'll come back and tell you. So he was basically on this, I don't know if you must have heard this. This is back in 2017, like feels like a past life. So, people used to call from Amazon call center and ask you to buy Apple gift cards. So he literally went to Woolies and got Apple gift card for $2,000. And then something struck and he just hung up the call. He was being threatened that he can't hang up the call, and he hung up the call. He turned off his phone and then he realized, shit, I fell for this crap. Right. And then he returned it and got his $2,000 back. But I've seen it live in action, how he was affected with that and how people can get you, especially migrants are very gullible. Like they operate from a lot of fear. They'll operate from a lot of unknown. So most of these scammy organizations target migrants specifically because they don't know the laws. They don't know the support system that is available in a new country. So they use them and kind of use it to their advantage. Okay. And then in terms of different types of businesses, the key thing is email. I want you to note this. Emails are a big one when it comes to spam, when it comes to phishing emails, installing some kind of viruses that will hack your system, give them complete access to all your financial information and private information. So that's the key thing with email compromise and online banking fraud. Okay. And the most organizations that are affected is retail, because retail is where you've got different levels of suppliers, different levels of retailers, different distributors, different end users. And there's a lot of moving parts to retail trade where it makes them very, very susceptible to cyber attacks, then construction, and then obviously the majority of the professional, scientific, and technical services. So when it comes to average losses, they've just said for a small business, on an average, this seems to be the loss last year. But I would say it is a lot of stuff. Like even the allied health professional, if she'd have lost her clinic, or she's got a database of 1,300 client information, God knows what would have happened to that, right? So really, this is just an average figure, but depending on the size of business, depending on their client base, the numbers could vary. Okay. So most of the information that's been done, this is just a graph that shows you contact information, your personal information is the biggest one. So I've had harassment ones that come through my contact us form. After I went and attended an event in Adelaide, I knew exactly who's doing it, but that's just being silly. People do such things, but that still affects you mentally, at least for 5 minutes. Like people have so jobless. So these are the information that can be breached or that can be potentially hacked. So these are the common cybersecurity threats. So antivirus feels like an age-old thing. I remember when I used to buy laptops when I was a student, that would come as a package. But most of the softwares we use today, most of the operating systems we use today have these installed inbuilt, but always recommend having firewalls, antivirus softwares, malwares to prevent them from harming your system and hardware in general. Phishing is a very common thing that happens in our everyday life these days. I haven't had any issue of ransomware yet. Thank God, touch wood, never want that. And then there's also denial of service attacks. So basically hacking their entire software and making it unavailable. So this is for larger enterprises on how things happen. And insider threats is when employees do this. So at Bet365, we were almost going to get one of this from our previous employee, but they were able to stop it. Okay, so what are the key concepts when it comes to cybersecurity? There is a triad called CIA. Okay, CIA is confidentiality. So basically, as part of the onboarding process with your employees, you have to make sure their level of access is always only according to their role. Not just everybody gets access to it. Like all the passwords was in a Word document, and I'll just send it to anybody who joins. Hey, just get access to anything you want. And then I was like, what an idiot. Yeah, I had to change my process. So my processes evolved with me over time. And now we've got SOPs to find out who gets access to what, depending on the client information and what type of client information they handle. So we have systems in place, but we used to do it a very, very crude way of doing things. And now when I look back, I don't know if I have to laugh or cry about it, but confidentiality is key. You have to make sure it's accessible only by the authorized personnel at the level what they are required to. And integrity is you have to ensure the information is accurate and nothing gets changed. So if anybody goes and changes anything in our CRM, because a lot of team members have access to it, so we have our internal process where they have to go and so the system creates a log what changed, and because they go into my team ID, I don't know who created the change. So this is a recent change we created in our process that they have to go and update in our project management tool with the date and time, who went into the client system and what kind of changes they made. Okay, that is very important. If something crashes, I've got a log that what happened. We can trace it back to the change logs that has happened in the system and also the person responsible for it, not just to put the blame on them, but to actually solve the problem for the client. This is definitely not putting the finger on that person, but to actually trace back the steps to find out what went wrong, what we could have done better, or what screwed up the whole system, right? So when too many hands are involved, when too many people are involved, like my business, I think it's important for you to have a track of accurate information in terms of change logs, who did what and when did that happen. And also having these systems open and available for them when they need it, like having a process to actually request access to a third-party software, giving them clear instructions on how they can get access to that software. So those things are very, very important. So that's the CIA triad with respect to employees. And also from a business perspective, from a business owner's perspective, you have to have multiple layers of security. Like I said, multi-factor authentication, two-factor authentication, using authenticator apps, using face IDs wherever possible. It's a pain, I tell you. Every time one of my team needs access to something, I have to be available for them to give access to it. But that's what keeps me safe. That's what keeps me aware that who has access to what. Okay. And also, as much as I love my team, as much as I trust my team, I think I always go with the zero trust model, that from a very, very professional context, that I have to verify access. I can't just give open access to anybody to any system. There's always a layer for me to check and have all these security protocols in place. Okay, so mitigating these data breaches, like I said, the password policy. I remember a few of my clients when they come back where they go, hey, JIA at 123. And I go, no, you did not keep that password, but they want to keep that password for all the softwares because it's easy for them to remember, right? So make sure you've got very, very complicated passwords. So previously they said when you use the alphanumeric special characters, that's more safe. But recently in one of the conference, I was told the lengthier passwords are more, because of the probability of getting it right, that is more safer than having a complex alphanumeric special character kind of a password. So if I have mitigating data breaches in 2024, that could be a more secure password than the complex ones. But my brain believes the complicated ones with special characters are the ones that can't be cracked. But it's just my brain believing. But according to experts in a conference, I was told that longer passwords tend to be hard to crack because of the number of probabilities it's going to take to actually predict your password. Okay. So yeah, again, just saying basically someone leaves the business, make sure you decommission or take access to all the unnecessary systems and services, take them off the system. You will not believe the number of businesses that have come to me and they do not have access to their own Facebook business page. It was created by some ex-employee and now they will not give access to the businesses. And now, sadly, we have to start from scratch, right? So a lot of businesses, and there's one business, like $1 million, multi-million dollar business, they don't own their website domain. And I'm like, you kidding me? They said yes, because you can go to namecheap.com, you can go to godaddy.com and buy a domain for $20. And that's what most of us do. And that's what I thought humans do. I did not know businesses go to companies and pay them hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars to buy a domain and not have access to that domain. I did not know that can happen, but I learn everything, new stuff every day. So the multi-million dollar business does not have access to their domain DNS settings, and the company is requesting them thousands of dollars according to some creepy contract they signed 2 years ago to give them access to their own domain and DNS settings. So they've built the business, multi-million dollar business. They can't let go of the domain or change the domain. So they're still dealing with that. So you can imagine the complexities of information just because people did not start with the simple basics, like just get your own domain, have a little bit more control as a business owner, and not giving access to third-party companies, even though you're paying them for the service. I think the level of access should be limited to what a service they're delivering. Okay, so what happens with the traditional cybersecurity approaches? Like all of us used to install an antivirus software and we were like, oh, I'm safe because I've got an antivirus software, right? So that becomes more of a reactive approach instead of a proactive approach, right? Most of the things, when you don't have these face recognition in place, when you don't have these two-factor authentications in place, it becomes an issue only as a reactive one when it detects something when shit hits the fan, right? Not when it as a preventative one. And a lot of manual processes are prone to human error, and then it cannot keep up with the evolving threats. Like I even forgot the name of that antivirus software, which is very famous. I'm very bad with names. I don't think they are in the business anymore. They used to be like a big billion-dollar business when I was a student back then, but I don't see them in the business anymore because they failed to evolve with the industry. And this is what I keep telling people. You like it, you hate it, AI is here to stay. Okay. So it's better to be early adopters, pick and choose what suits your requirement and just use those systems. Because if you would have seen certain TV ads or radio ads when you were a kid, and those businesses might not be in business today because they failed to evolve with the market requirement. They failed to evolve with the market changes. So similarly, if you're in business, I would expect you to move faster with the changes in AI. Every app you use today has some kind of fancy AI integrated to it because that is required. People don't want to do their own stuff anymore. Like you go to Facebook, you don't have to type your Facebook post. It automatically AI writes for you if you want it, right? You have AI image generation, you have AI video creation. So everything is there to make things easier. So if you want to go back to the traditional way, it feels hard. It's the same way in your business. If you're not making that user experience easy, if you're not actually pivoting or moving along with the changed landscape of business, then you're not going to be in business, or your competitor is going to pick up the baton very, very faster and run faster than you. Okay. So the use or the limitation of the traditional cybersecurity approach is it does not change with the fast changing threats, and it's a very, very slow response time. Okay. Now, what happens when you use some kind of an AI enhanced cybersecurity approach? So your face recognition is a form of artificial intelligence in it. Not see, artificial intelligence, machine language has been in existence since 1950s. We just didn't know it because it was not called ChatGPT. Just that one tool came up and blew the whole world of AI. AI has been here more than 70 years. Okay, so it was just not called AI, but the actual function of every element there, it has some kind of an artificial intelligence concept inbuilt in it. So every software that we use, every app that we use has some kind of an artificial intelligence logic that's been inbuilt into its functionality to make it run quicker, to make it work smarter, to make it think like a human. Okay. So all the generative AI stuff that we have is to actually help those tools bring some logic and make some humanly decisions as possible. So similarly, in terms of cybersecurity, you've got AI tools that can actually automate. So even though you're not going to scan, you remember in the olden days, we have to open the antivirus tool and run scan, and then it'll tell you the number of malwares, the number of viruses and things. And then I remember cleaning my floppy disk like that. The good old days, we had floppy disk. You put a floppy disk and you scan. Oh shit, I feel so old. I don't know if any of you know these stuff, but floppy disk were a thing. When you put in a floppy disk, it scans and tells you whether it's clean or whether it's got bugs in there. So it was an manual process back in the days, and in a lot of non-AI tools, you have to open the tool and run a manual scan, whereas the AI integrated security tools that are installed in your website, the AI enhanced tools on your apps, they run automatically. That's why we always recommend having those auto software updates on, so it automatically updates even when you're sleeping. It basically keeps your devices secure. Okay. And as much as AI is advantageous in analyzing massive data sets and creating these generative AI tools, it's like I said, it also has the disadvantage that it can analyze massive data and find out patterns, unusual patterns and behaviors. So it can be used, it's a two-edged sword, right? It depends on how you use it. Either you can understand those unusual patterns and behaviors and basically have some kind of prevention in place or have some kind of risk mitigation in place. The other end is you can actually read patterns so quickly with these AI tools. If you want to plant an attack, if you want to plant a phishing email, you can actually use those massive amount of information that's available to your advantage as a hacker, like the whole dark web thing. So when I was doing research for this presentation, it was all leading me to the dark web AI tools, which was on a minimum subscription of 30 grand. So I could not even show you those tools because they were all high subscription and it required a lot of my personal and business information. And I didn't want to do that experiment, to be honest. So I did not try those tools because it looks legit. It looks like a tool that's going to help me with cybersecurity, stay safe in the dark web. But what if? I was not sure. So I didn't want to risk that by trialing those softwares to show you a demo, because most of those, especially the dark web softwares, seems very legit and I'm not entirely qualified enough to understand the risks of knowing which one is true or which one is false, right? So I didn't want to take that risk genuinely from that perspective. But we can use a lot of AI tools and GPTs to predict, prevent, and mitigate cyber attack. So how many of you have used different custom GPTs for your business or chat GPT, and what have you used it for? If you can let me know in the chat, I'll show you some use cases and I'll know exactly how much I have to explain in that. So the question is, have you used ChatGPT and have you used custom GPTs? What is the purpose you've used ChatGPT for? And have you used any custom GPTs? Can you please answer in the chat so I can show you a demo accordingly? Okay, Emma has not used ChatGPT. Anyone else? So I can show you the examples. So my thing might look very different to yours. I might have different widgets and different things that are involved. So I use the paid version. I've been using the paid version for the past 8-9 months. So I've seen this particular platform evolve massively. So basically, ChatGPT can do pretty much, anything in your head, whatever you want to do, you can type, and the free version will give you a limited minutes or limited amount of interactions with ChatGPT 4.0, which is the best model right now. So any question, let me go. Okay, I am Emma, and then I'm gonna just type, I have a small family business, we supply and install large scale water tanks in Darwin. Okay, I would like to create $1 million roadmap for this financial year. Okay. Can you please act as a business consultant and provide me with a clear roadmap for my industry. Let's just keep it simple without much complicated prompts, just casual conversation. Okay. And then within seconds, it'll be like, Emma, let's create a clear and achievable roadmap to help your water tank supply and installation business in Darwin hit the $1 million revenue mark. We'll break it down into key areas: market opportunities, customer segments, operational efficiency, marketing strategy, financial targets. So it's given you different things like market analysis and opportunities, customer segmentations, operational efficiency and scalability, marketing strategy, sales strategy, revenue streams, financial goals, tracking and adjustments, and things like that. Okay. Now I can literally go, the marketing is number 4, right? I want to create a clear marketing plan. Can you prepare 6-month marketing plan to make sure I hit my income goals? And then it gives you every month what are the things that you need to do. I mean, these are things like, when your brain is fried, you can't even think. Your right, like my right brain doesn't work, right? So when you don't have creative juices flowing, this is a good start for you to go and find out the things that you have never even thought about in your life. Right? So once it gives you, just don't take its word like Bible verse. You can ask it to change roles and actually review and criticize what's being given, optimize. So there's lots of things you can do. This is like my little everyday night routine. Like, you can install the app on your phone. You can log in through the same login. So I actually speak. So you can have audio as the input. I actually speak into my phone, whatever I want to say, and then I look at my laptop to see the output that it gives me. So that's kind of my night routine, right? So yeah, it's given a complete detailed analysis of marketing plans. So I'll be like, act as marketing strategist specializing in my industry in Australia, review the plan provided and optimize it to ensure I reach my goals. So initially, from a business consultant perspective, that's the hat that gave you these plans. Now I'm asking ChatGPT to take the role of a marketing strategist who knows your industry really, really well, and then optimize the plan. Okay. And then it'll give you a comparison of what was lacking in the previous roadmap and everything that you want to do. So you can go on and on and on with this one. I do 2-hour sessions just for AI. So you can see it'll just get better. So it's not like one prompt. So you have to really become an expert in prompt engineering. Then it'll be really, really good for you to actually go in and explore. So you can see, no way in this amount of time can you come up with a marketing plan like this. Okay. There's no possible way. You see that I've given a very basic prompt, and people generally ask me this question, oh, will I get the same output? So depending on the prompt is what the output gives you. So the words that you give, it's a language model. Okay. So basically it works with the input that you give, and it's only as good as the information that you provide. Otherwise it'll just make up its own stuff. Right. So that's why you have this disclaimer here. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info. So really don't take it for any facts and figures. It's not very valid. All right, coming back to our topic. So if people who have not seen ChatGPT, please, you're missing out so much in your life. Just go get a free version and go have fun. I promise you sleepless nights. Okay, now these are custom GPTs, meaning the GPTs that are built for specific purpose. You don't have to pay therapists anymore. You don't have to pay counselors anymore. For example, don't mark my words, I'm just telling you from an AI perspective. Okay, so if I want to search for relationship counselor, if I want to get specific information about relationship counseling, I can literally go to these specific GPTs that can answer questions on relationship counseling. Okay, now we're going to search for GPTs in cybersecurity. Okay, so when you click cybersecurity, these are custom GPT models that have been built for cybersecurity purposes. So you've got cybersecurity professor, who is your Stanford level cybersecurity mentor, who will educate you on different aspects of cybersecurity. And then you've got a cybersecurity bot that is very, very skilled in certain extensions and tools. If you're very specifically looking for that, that's the one. And then you've got Amelia, who's a cybersecurity analyst. You've got cybersecurity vulnerability advisor, cybersecurity expert. So you've got different things that'll tell you something. I'm going to go to cybersecurity professor, cybersecurity companion. Let's go to Amelia. So it says, hi, I'm Amelia, a GPT-powered cybersecurity analyst specializing in threat detection, risk assessment, and whatever. And then you go start chat. Okay. Instead of, this is why Google hates ChatGPT, right? Because if you go to Google to find something, hey, how can I maintain cybersecurity? It's going to give you 100 links. You click on each of those links, you read those blogs, you go to those videos. But here I get it all summarized in one page. Okay. So if I just want to know what are the latest trends in cybersecurity threats, okay, then it basically gives me a summary of everything that happens with latest trends. So I don't have to go into different softwares to do it. So if you have a cybersecurity question, you can just go and ask these bots and they'll answer very, very specifically. Instead of asking the general language model, the reason you have custom GPTs is because the information, the data that they've been trained is in that particular niche. Okay. So a therapist bot, a therapist GPT is going to be trained with millions and trillions of information just related to therapy. So when you hear about ChatGPT passing the medical exam, ChatGPT has passed the law exam, it's because someone sat down and trained the GPT with all the legal bar exam information, right? Someone sat down and trained it with all the medical exam. So the general GPT will have all the information, like the entire language model, the entire stuff on Google, the entire stuff on YouTube, everything on the internet is there. So the information will be very dilute. That's why these custom GPTs are the ones that are designed for specific tasks, to ask those specific questions, to be cyber safe. So if you have any question, it can actually give you. So if you want to ask about firewall, how does it, so let's ask this question, I think for Leah, what's the best way to start a career in cybersecurity? And then it gives you information, a very specific technical explanation on how to do it. So this is just general stuff that I'm touching on. But if you do have a very, very specific question on how to work these things in your business, then you can definitely use the custom GPT model. If you're looking at ChatGPT for the first time, I'm sure it's going to blow your mind. The 2-hour webinars I do for ChatGPT is just crazy. So yeah. Any questions, team? We've been very quiet. I've been the one doing all the talking. Any questions, concerns, discussions? No questions? I'll email you the copy of the recording, the checklist, the PowerPoint from ACSA. That'll give you the information. So pretty much as a small business owner, I think being vigilant in terms of handling emails, your business emails, identifying the phishing emails, having 2-factor authentication, face ID recognition, keeping your devices up to date, the basic things that you can do to protect your business in the first place. So most of you, as part of Cybersecurity Awareness Month, there's lots of trainings and resources available at cyber.gov.au and acsc.com.au. So use those resources to make sure you are cyber safe. Happy to answer any other questions you may have. If not, I will let you enjoy your rest of your midweek. And if you do have any questions, you can reach out to me from the email that I'm going to send you information, which will be team@pivottothrive.com.au. I do regular monthly sessions with Regional Business HQ. And if you do want to work with me via Regional Business HQ, which is the most affordable way, I think it's a $110 digital action plan that will give you 4 hours of access to mentors. So there'll be a business mentor who will sit down and create a digital action plan for your particular business. And depending on what kind of services you need, they will pair you with different experts. So if you believe I can help you with CRM automations, then you can say, hey, I would like to work with Priya 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever you want to work. And the mentor will make sure they allocate those number of hours to work with me. And then I'll sit down with you, discuss your business requirement, and see how I can help you overcome those challenges or reach your goals. I think that's the best way to, and the most economical way to work with me. I will add you to my Monday morning newsletter. So Monday morning, 9 o'clock, I send out weekly newsletters that just gives a bit of information about the things that are happening in my space, the business grants that are open, awards that are open, and a little bit of information about events that are happening around Australia, online and offline. So I don't know if you are aware, in Queensland, there is a business basics grant that's open right now, which is $7,500 for businesses. There is an eligibility checker. You can go and check if your business is eligible. So businesses that have less than 5 employees and less than $300,000, if you've traded in the last 1 year, you're eligible to apply. 7,500 is a good money. They bumped it up. Till last year, it was only 5 grand. So now it's 7,500. You can apply right now. The expression of interest is open. Other Darwin and Perth people, there are also other grants in your local, either your council or your thing. I think I'm part of the Beck NT newsletter, and they do share information about the grants that are open. So check those grants, apply, especially with the Queensland Business Basics grant. You just have to put in an expression of interest. You have to just prove you have an active ABN in Queensland and you've traded in the last financial year. There's no minimum sale, like you just should have some transaction that's happened. And if you're selected for stage 2, that's when you come and ask me for a quote, and then I can give you a quote and help you with the grant. I received the grant myself in round 3, which was a very, very clunky portal. So the grant system has also evolved. This is round 6. So I did a podcast yesterday. It was published about the Business Basics grant. I'm happy for you to go listen to it and find out how you can apply and get the grant. And if you are keen for more information about the grant and how to work with me, please reach out. So that's it from me, people. Thank you so much. You've been a very quiet audience and a smallest group I've ever had. But if it just helps one person, then it's a time well spent. So I hope it was informative for all of you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you some other time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you found value in today's episode, make sure to follow, share, leave a review so we know that you love listening to us. And if you are looking at more valuable tips, insights, tools, and resources to help grow your business, please visit pivottothrive.com.au. I will leave links in the show notes below. Just remember, if your current strategy isn't working, you don't have to quit. You just pivot, because the right pivot can make a huge difference. Let's pivot and keep thriving. I'll see you in the next episode.